technology is working. Okay, can I welcome everybody to the third meeting of the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. Glad to see so many people here, members of the public. Before moving into the detail of today's meeting, there are a number of housekeeping points I just want to quickly mention. First of all, can I remind everyone that all mobile phones should be turned to silent for the duration of the meeting. And secondly, to ensure that everyone in the chamber can hear the debate, can I please ask members and people presenting reports to use the microphones so that we can all hear the contribution to the discussion. And finally, the meeting will be filmed, I'm told, by officers from the Combined Authority and will be webcast and also available on the Knowsley Council website later today. Okay, so that's I think that's a first, so that's just worth noting. Right, so just straight into the meeting. Item 1 is apologies for absence. Sheila, are there any apologies?
Yes, there are. Thank you, Chair. We've had apologies from Councillor Grunwald, and he's been substituted by Councillor Bowden from St Helens. We've also received apologies from Robert Hubb from the LEP, and he's been substituted by Asif Hamid. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome to those colleagues. That takes us on to item 2, declarations of interest. Have any declarations of interest been received?
None received, Chair.
Okay, note that. Okay, we now move on to item 3, minutes of the last meeting of the Combined Authority held on the 13th of June. Members, they're attached to your agenda, pages 1 to 14 of your pack. Can I ask, are these approved as a correct record of the meeting? Agreed. Thank you. Okay, we're now going into 3 important reports around the transport agenda that we're going to be considering this morning. The first one is the long-term rail strategy for the Liverpool City region, and I think David Brown. David, you're going to present this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Members received at the last meeting in June a draft of the 30-year long-term rail strategy for the Liverpool City region. We've done some further consultation on that document and stayed in the final version for members' approval. Members will recall that this document sets out a blueprint for how we can continue to invest in the local, regional and national linkages that are required to support the economic growth of the city region. It's a clear visionary document, but it also has a practical implementation plan which aligns with the rail industry's planning process, but also brings forward concrete packages of improvements that are set out in the report. The packages are contained broadly around linking to national markets such as London and elsewhere, improving both the national and regional links to other core cities such as Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham, and potential services to Scotland, Glasgow and Edinburgh, as well as improving local connectivity and ensuring there's adequate capacity in the local system to enable continued growth of the rail network and the city region's economy. The document also looks at expanding the local network to bring in areas such as West Lancashire, Skelmersdale, but also important links out to North Wales, so improvements to both the capacity and the quality of the services to those economic hinterlands. At the last meeting, we received some comments, and we also received some comments from Seppling Council, and the document has been amended to reflect the importance of the Southport to Manchester line, and also will now include a set of packages to look at improvements to the infrastructure and services on that route. If this document is endorsed today, this will then form the blueprint from which we will go away and develop schemes and bring those forward on a case-by-case basis, and also investigate putting in place a clear investment programme to fund these improvements to the rail network over the next 30 years. The recommendations are in section 2.
Thank you, David. Okay, comments, questions from members? Joe?
Just to say, I welcome the report. I think it's a really well put report. I think it's really absolutely essential that we don't lose sight of the local connectivity between the city region, as well as making the case for HS2 and for HS3. I think
microphone. I think people are struggling to hear.
So yes, as I said, welcome to the document. I think it's a good piece of work, and it highlights that local connectivity as well as the arguments and the debate for HS2 and HS3. So I think it's a good document, and it is something I think that should underpin how we move forward. So it's well to notice.
Okay. Any other points? I was just going to ask the question. It's a 30-year strategy, David. So, you know, just very briefly, how are we going to? What's the kind of time scale and the timing of bringing packages forward?
Yeah, Chair. So, although this is the planned investment over the next 30 years, we're already on with some of those key profile schemes that we secured funding through the growth deal, so Halton Curve, looking at investment in new stations, etc. So at the very back of the document, we've got a clear implementation plan that said this is how we're going to develop those schemes. But we're very keen to ensure that we're doing the development work now, so that we're not just waiting for funding to become available. We need to get ahead of the game to actually have all our work done, so that when funding is available, we're ready to go and deliver these schemes. So it'll be full throttle on all of these, but making sure that we can bring them forward on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, any other points members wish to raise? Okay, so I'm going to suggest that we agree the recommendations as set out on page 15, A and B. Are those agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that takes us on then to the next transport item, which is the One North report, a proposition for an interconnected North. David?
Thanks, Chair. This document was brought about as a response to Sir David Higgins, who is now leading the HS2 project, has been asked and has produced a report on how to accelerate the delivery of High Speed 2, how to make sure that it is achieved within its cost budget and time frame. He laid down the challenge about, okay, if HS2 happens, what is the North of England doing about its future strategic investment programme for connectivity between the cities across the north, and to ensure that the connectivity into the high-speed 2 network, but also between those big city regions, actually has a clear trajectory. Since the last meeting of the Combined Authority, the 5 city regions, core city regions of the north of England have come together to produce the One North document, which is that high-level strategic connectivity plan for the next 15 years, which will enable us to build on our own local rail strategy, but also build on the investment that is going to occur through High Speed 2. This is fundamentally about improving east-west connectivity. It is about ensuring that there is adequate highway and railway capacity and speed of journey between those key core city regions. It is also, which is of particular interest to the Liverpool city region, very focused on the freight movements that are required into the ports and across the north of England. And that's a particular emphasis that we, through the Liverpool city region, the Combined Authority and the LEP have brought to bear on the document to ensure that freight is properly reflected within that. The document contains in 5.2 the headlines of some of those interventions, which is about improving the highway capacity through managed motorways, investing in additional capacity where necessary, investing in a new high-speed 125-mile-an-hour rail route east to west across the city region, linking those cities, and also linking key cities like the Liverpool and Manchester into Manchester Airport. So this really directly aligns to our own economic plan. It allows our own local and long-term rail strategy to plug the local connectivity gaps, and this piece of work has been endorsed at the highest political level, both in the city region but also nationally. The next stage of work has already been commissioned, which is about bringing a strategic plan and how much this will actually cost. So actually taking each of these interventions, putting some more costs and viability around that. That work has been started and is due to report by the end of October, with the intention that it strongly is referenced in the autumn statement that the Chancellor will make later this year. This is a real opportunity for the key city regions of the north to put in place a strategic investment plan and connectivity between those city regions, and therefore the recommendations are in stage.
Thanks, David. Again, comments, questions? Joe?
Yeah, I think it's important that we make the case here in the document. I mean, when many people were talking about HS2, we pushed the debate around HS3, and that's exactly what this does in terms of One North. And credit to the government for recognising that, but we've got to make sure that we now hold them to deliver on this. It's absolutely vital that the issue of connectivity between west and east is just as important to the if you like, the regeneration and the economic benefits of the whole of the north that we push with this. I mean, if you look at it, there's somewhere around about a £12 billion investment, and that's comparable with the Crossrail argument that's happening down south. But if you also compare it and look at what the Mayor of London is demanding for London in terms of transport, it's around about 90 billion to 100 billion pounds. So we've got to make sure that we make that case as strongly and not let get it swallowed up in the HS2 argument, that we've got to continue to argue for the HS3 debate, and with that debate about the connectivity and economic generation of the whole north. So it's important that we don't lose sight of that.
Okay, other comments? Rob?
Mr Chairman, I think Joe's right for the west and east connectivity. We've got superports looking to come on stream soon, and the logistics is quite high in our area. But we always meet resistance with the Manchester hub. We've got to get, no matter what you do, you've got to go through that station. Unless they get that sorted, we're at an impasse. We can all get to Manchester and no further, or that's got to expand. And I think there's some plans to be doing something, but it does stand to start with that. But I was telling you the other day, there's a train used to go from Liverpool direct to Scotland, and I think that's something that, without going through Manchester, and that might be something that could be, especially with the referendum just being announced now, that we're all getting a train service up there, because a lot of people do go from here to Scotland, and I think that's something we should be looking at as well.
David, could you, or Liam, could you just pick up the importance of the freight, logistics agenda as part of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole east-west connectivity, for us, the vital element of that is the freight element. So actually, how can we provide both the road and rail capacity for the superport development to occur? We've stressed that in the document. The support from both the private sector and the left as an organisation will actually make that case very, very strongly, and that is strongly featured in the next piece of work, the continuing development. And we're working with colleagues in Hull as well to make sure that there's a whole east-west connectivity for both the passenger and freight.
I can add to that as well, Phil, because just to pick up Rob's points about the sort of direct services in Scotland, I think you're absolutely right, Rob. That's one of the key things that we've highlighted in the long-term rail strategy, about some of those kind of longer distance connection. It's also one of the key things we're lobbying for as part of the Rail North proposition, how we can get a Trans-Pennine Express route from Liverpool going all the way to places like Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I think now is a very good and opportune moment to make sure that that's kind of heard and comes into being. The other point I'm just going to pick up on is exactly what Joe said. I think it's absolutely spot on. I think the One North proposition is one of the most exciting things to come out of the North of England in a long, long time. And this is something that was devised in the North of England. It wasn't the government asked us to do this. It's something that across the North we picked up the gauntlet and have run with. And now what's being pulled together in a very, very fast period of time, I believe is not only exciting and visionary, but very, very practical. And I think the key point now really is how we kind of focus on this and make sure we crack on and get something delivered. Because my own personal opinion is that actually the One North proposition should be the next national infrastructure priority for the whole of the UK following the construction of High Speed 2. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to make sure we sort of fly that flag very, very proudly. Okay, thanks, Liam. Any other comments? No? Okay. So we'll look at the recommendations on page 57. Can we agree those three recommendations on that report? Okay, thanks very much. Okay, that takes us on to, we did make reference to this, the latest report around high-speed rail development programme. And David, this is you again. Thank you.
Final one. This is really the final piece of this jigsaw. Long-term rail strategy is now in place. The work on east-west connections is in place. We reported back to the last meeting of the technical work that had been submitted down to the department and strengthening the case for a direct high-speed 2 link into the centre of Liverpool. And that work has been well received. We've now set up a meeting with Baroness Kramer. We'll try to bring that forward, but we've got a date in the diary to meet her to explain again the value of the link directly into Liverpool for high-speed 2 services. At the last meeting, members asked us to ensure that we were getting both business and population engagement in the whole conversation. So at the end of July, we launched the Linking Liverpool campaign, which builds very much on the work previously done by the City Region and other groups like 20 Miles More, and actually takes the case further, broadens it out and explains it to the business community and members of the public the importance, both now and in the future, of our direct high-speed link into Liverpool. We've launched that campaign, that's gone very well. We've engaged a significant number of businesses, so we've actually directly engaged over 200 businesses through either forums, individual meetings and sessions within their own networks, and that work continues on. To date, we've got over 20,000 individuals who signed a petition supporting the Linking Liverpool campaign, and over 250 businesses have already signed the petition with a commitment for them to further expand that out in their network. The response from the business sector has been very positive. They've engaged with it. They are stressing the importance of east-west connections across to Manchester and Leeds, and they want to continue to provide their support not only for high-speed 2, but also high-speed 3 and those east-west connections. So we have an autumn programme of further activity. We will be represented by the Mayor at a number of events at party conferences coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and working with others to actually raise the profile at those events, but also at further business events over the forthcoming weeks. We're also working with our partner, the Liverpool Echo, to continue to run their media campaign, and they have a further programme of work that will be launched through October and November, comparing European examples of the benefits that people receive from high-speed 2. So the intention is to continue that engagement, to continue to raise the profile of this and other east-west and national linkages to the Liverpool City region over the autumn months, and we'll continue to provide regular updates to members.
Any comments, Mr. Thoughts? I mean, I just wanted to echo, I mean, I was at the business event we did here a few weeks ago, and Liam and other colleagues, and it was huge enthusiasm actually from the businesses, which was, you know, really heartening, and we just need to kind of build on that going forward. Are there any other things, David, Liam, as a combined authority we can be doing to push this case with government?
I think the key thing for me is making sure that your constituents and your staff are aware of the campaign. It's an easy thing to sign the petition once you understand the benefits of it, so the more you can do to encourage both your staff at the councils but also your constituents to be aware of this, the more awareness we can make of it.
We need everybody to sign the e-petition. That's really important. Okay, so the recommendations of this report on page 83, paragraph 2.1, 3 recommendations. Can we agree them? Is that agreed? Thank you. Okay, that takes us on to the economic development section of the agenda, and item 7 is the growth deal implementation process, and I'm going to ask Mike Palin to present this. Mike, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Members will be aware that the City Region secured £232 million of growth deal funding in July, primarily to support schemes in transport linked to Liverpool City Centre and also the creation of a freight and logistics hub. There are also some capital funding for colleges throughout the City Region, and also some smaller asks around creating a business growth hub and also IFB in 2016. Since then, we've been working with government on understanding their requirements for the drafting of an implementation plan. It was our intention to bring an implementation plan to this meeting, but government are still finalising the guidance. So the report today is to provide members with an update of where we are in that process with government, and also a recommendation that we form a small task and finish group to finalise the completion of the implementation plan over the upcoming weeks. Just to add to the paper, we are aware the government will soon be announcing the process for a growth deal round 2. And we expect that to be announced via a letter to the LEP over upcoming weeks, with the likelihood being that there will be further funding announcements in the spring in the run-up to the general election next year, So we need to get ourselves, the city region, back up to speed on bringing forward schemes that will seek investment. Initiatives such as the long-term rail strategy presented today provide us with a baseline of projects to take to government. And again, we'll be linking in with the processes around One North to make sure that the schemes we put forward link with our long-term ambitions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Joe?
As yet, have we got any indication of the growth deal? Maybe like this one has been focused a lot of it on transport. So have we got any indication about where they're looking at funding B2? I know the Chancellor's making a great play on new science, technology and areas. Have we got any sorts of indications at all?
As members will be aware, throughout the process we were conscious that departments were contributing funding to the growth deal pots, and that accountable officer arrangements were not necessarily being changed as a result. So we targeted our asks on transport projects and skills projects previously. It's our belief that as we're so close to a general election, there may be unring-fenced funding provided to the next growth deal process, which will allow the city regions to come forward with a broader range of initiatives that are our priorities. So for example, life sciences would be something we could look to fund, hopefully in the next stage process. One concern would be a smaller amount of money that was available through the last process, which was said to be around 2 billion. We've not yet got any indication of what the number will be, but we're not convinced there's a huge amount of flexibility in government's budget to reallocate to an ring-fenced pot.
Okay.
Just if we know the last round, we know that approximate was oversubscribed, and we ended up with the reduction ourselves in our bid. I think, you know, I know this has been recorded, and I hope the Treasury isn't watching it, but it is election time, and they are looking to get rid of surplus money. So I think we need to be ambitious in our proposals, if you like, and also recognising that they will cut back. That we need to make sure that we do get something, you know, sizable and meaningful in there, because it's the months are ticking away. Once it's committed, we've got it. So I'd like to urge that we look ambitiously at what we can put in.
Mike, do you want to respond to that?
Just to stress that there's a very narrow window of opportunity to get our proposals together. We know the date of the autumn statement will be December the 3rd. We know that that gives the government an opportunity to make announcements. They'll then probably use the growth deal process to make another set of announcements. We need to have our schemes ready in the next few weeks. Again, with One North, it's important in getting those schemes together. So I'd urge members, if you have schemes that you think should be submitted within the growth deal process, to make us aware of the lab, and we will, as we did last time, represent those in the submission.
Okay, Asif?
Just to reiterate what Joe said, I think it's a great opportunity. We've got to capitalise as much as we can do. My only concern with this is that we've got a lot of capital there. We've got to resource it properly to make sure we implement it as well. So we've got to put the right resource behind the back of it to make sure it's implemented. So when we go for the next stage of growth and we've got the money in, the resources there to put the bidding properly in, and obviously use the funds from the first one as well.
Okay, thanks, Asif. Other comments? Can I just say, I mean, I think we did really well from the last growth round. I mean, 232 million from an ask of 250 million. I think it was a pretty good result, actually. So I'd like to thank particularly Mike and the team at the LEP who worked, you know, very hard to put a credible plan forward. So I think that was a really good effort. I think, Asif, you made a really important point that the key thing now is delivery, and that's one of the key recommendations about having a group convened by the LEP to make sure that having got that money, we now deliver it and achieve those outcomes that we need to deliver. So I think that's critically important going forward. Mike, I'd also ask that you kind of give us regular reports to the Combined Authority on kind of progress against our plan, if you can.
Yes, definitely. What we suggested is that the process that government will go through in funding the growth deal is to allocate, that the funding will have to flow to a public body. We have said that the most appropriate public body at city region level is the Combined Authority, with Mersey Travel acting as accountable body. So you, in future, will be receiving reports on the funding process from the Section 151 officer of the Combined Authority as well. So we've made sure in the city region that our structures are meshed together to make this process work.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, if not, so we're being asked to agree the recommendations on page 89, paragraph 2.1, A and B. Can we agree those recommendations? Okay, thank you. Okay, that then takes us on to item 8, Liverpool City Region inward investment. And I think, Jed, are you going to present this, please?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. This report seeks agreement of the Combined Authority to establish a more collaborative approach to working on inward investments and investment generally in and around the city region. The report sets out some principles, particularly at section 4 of the report, paragraph 4.5 specifically, which, if you agree, I will continue to develop in conjunction with the appropriate colleagues from each of the authorities and from the lab. We've already put a lot of time into developing the progress we're making so far, but it obviously needs a lot more detail and a lot more working through, with a view to bringing it back to your meeting in January if this is the direction, travel, principles and so on that you're comfortable with as set out this morning.
Thanks, Jed. An important report, this. We had a long debate about this at the left yesterday. Asif, do you want to come in?
Can I say some music to my ears this report? Because for many years within the city region, I think we need to have a single voice on this. I think I welcome the report. The only few comments I would make is that I think we have to ensure that the private sector is in the centre of this report. So it's got to go from the centre outwards, not the outwards inwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the other comment I'd like to make, I think we need to bring in and ensure that we get
Asif, could you just speak into your microphone a bit more?
first time I'm told I've not got a loud voice, so
yeah.
but I think the other thing we need to ensure is that we get some more private sector involvement even at this early stage. I think that's key. I think even though we've got the LEP involvement and other partners, I think bringing in some private sector individuals in support of that team to develop this strategy, I think would be very, very important. So, and when I say that, I talk about individuals who have built businesses, I think, whether it be in the city region or outside the city region, we should go and sort these people and bring them in and help thrash the recommendations out before it's presented again.
Thanks, Asif. Other comments? Okay, I think we all should agree, and I think we all do agree that we need to develop a more collaborative approach to inward investment. This was a big debate at the left board yesterday, so I think principles of this report are very welcome, Chair, and I think we kind of look to you to take this to the next stage and work up the detail around it. But I think the principles are absolutely sound if we are to compete with our other city regions, both here, nationally and internationally. So, if there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to suggest that we agree the recommendations on page 97 of this report. Paragraph 2.1, are they agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. Right. So that then takes us to the governance section of the agenda, and item 9 is the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority Scrutiny Panel, and David is going to speak to this. David?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. This report is for information primarily, and just to update the Combined Authority on the progress we're making in establishing the Scrutiny Panel, which the Combined Authority has agreed and which forms a part of its constitution. You'll see from the report that the panel's now being constituted. We're asking the Combined Authority to endorse those nominations, please. They're set out in Appendix 1. And there will be training taking place. The report doesn't identify the dates. The dates are the 26th of September, the first training and development day, and the first meeting of the Scrutiny Panel is due to take place on the 19th of October. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Okay. Joe?
It's not a question, Chair, it's just a change. As you know, the Labour representation on Liverpool meant that we could have 2 members. I chose to allocate one position party in Liverpool, and they've asked to now change their membership from Councillor Coyne to be replaced by Councillor Lawrence Brown on that scrutiny panel. So if we could just amend that.
Okay. So if we can, unless there are any other questions, this report's primarily, as David said, for noting. So with that change that Joe's mentioned, can we agree those recommendations on page 103? Is that agreed? Thank you. And we look forward to the work of the scrutiny panel in due course. Okay, that then takes us on to item 10, and that's the Combined Authority Budget Monitoring Statement, April the 1st, 2014 to June the 30th. And I'm going to ask John Fogarty to introduce this report. John.
Thank you, Chair, members. Yeah, this is the first monitoring statement. It's in two parts. Combined Authorities Budget Monitor is the body of the report. And just briefly, it is worth stressing that this is very much a transitional year. The ITA had to set a budget, as you know, as a
Can I just make a suggestion? I mean, I've read the report, I've got issues with it, regarding the presentation, because it is only for note, isn't it? But if we've got any questions on it, that we ask them, otherwise we agree that the report and say, I'm not being unfair, just saying that I've got nothing, you know, just prefer to do business that way if anyone's got any issues on it.
It's only for note. No, that's fine. Anything in particular that we need to just be highlighted to us, John?
No, not that isn't within the report itself or the appendix. Mersey Travel Committee itself considers it much more detailed. The Mersey Travel element of it is Appendix 1, so if you're happy with that, then
that's my point.
Okay.
Just for note.
No, that's fine. But let me just check if any of the other members have got any questions or comments on this report. No? Okay, so we're being asked to note the content, is that agreed? Okay, thank you. Okay, and that takes us on then to item 11, which is the Merseyside Integrated Transport Authority final accounts for 2013-14. And again, John, do you want to highlight anything on this report?
Nothing in particular other than the external auditors are offering an unqualified opinion. The CA are receiving this report because you're charged with governance now, even though it was the ITA's accounts. This time next year it will be your own accounts, obviously. Our external auditors are here as well to answer any questions or offer any comments if you wish to, but again, the reports are there to answer any questions.
Okay, anybody got any questions? No? Can I welcome the fact that the accounts are unqualified? That's good news. So we're being asked to consider the report on the final accounts and approve the final accounts of the Merseyside Integrated Transport Authority. Those are the recommendations on page 1, 2, 3. Can we agree there? Thank you. Okay. So that takes us now on to agenda item 12, associate membership of the Combined Authority. I'm going to ask Graham Burgess to introduce this report. Graham?
Yes, Chair, thank you. I'm sure all members of the Combined Authority will recognise that the functioning economic area of the city region goes beyond the current boundaries. We know that many of our neighbouring authorities use the city region in terms of work, leisure, learning, housing market, and indeed the jobs that we are creating across the city region will be accessed by a number of our neighbours, and indeed a number of people who live in the city region will also access jobs outside the boundaries of the city region. Therefore, it is very welcome that a number of authorities are joining the city region and expressed an interest in working more closely with us. And indeed, some of the reports you considered earlier, particularly under transport, you'll see the rail schemes going out towards Scammerdale, Ormskirk, Warrington, and indeed into towards Chester as well. So it's quite encouraging that those bodies are interested in working alongside us. It's only in terms of AGMA, they have had for a number of years the opportunity for authorities who are neighbouring that combined authority to become associate members. Therefore, this report actually offers the opportunity to two other authorities, West Lancashire and Warrington, to explore with us becoming associate members of this authority. If they were to take that advantage of the opportunity, it would add another 300,000 people to the population of this combined authorities area of influence, which I think would be very welcome, and make the economic argument to join up a large range of our transport and job opportunities more available to both our citizens and their citizens. So, Chair, the only additional point I want to make is clearly if the two authorities mentioned in the report took advantage of this offer, they would join the various officer working groups and would have observer rights as on this body, and be able to speak as this body, but clearly not vote. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any comments on this report? Okay, so we were happy to progress those recommendations and await interest from those two authorities. So can we read those recommendations on page 225? I agree? Okay, thank you. Okay, on to item 13, the role of the combined authority in driving a northern devolution agenda. And again, Graham, you're going to introduce this, please.
Yes, Chair. I think actually, given the outcome of last night, this report is extremely timely in its place on the agenda today. Again, you heard as well the really excellent work being done in terms of linking up the north into the High Speed 3. You heard as well the opportunities of integrating the north in terms of its observation transport and highways powers. This report tries to attempt to bring together the 5 northern combined authorities, North East, Leeds City Region, Sheffield City Region, Manchester City Region and Liverpool City Region, and start talking how we could even improve the activity across the north. This grouping, if they work together efficiently and effectively, will represent almost 11 million people. 11 million people, which is larger than most of the nations of the UK. Therefore, a key influential group if we can work together and build on the work that's already been done in very effective form across the north. There have been 2 or 3 informal meetings supported by the LGA over the last 2 or 3 months, and a further meeting is planned between 5 northern authorities plus Teesside plus the LGA in the Leeds City Region area in early October. So this report gives an update to the combined authority on those meetings, and also attaches as an appendix some ideas about some elements of a northern agenda that goes beyond the very important transport work we're already doing, and seeks any comments on that paper. Clearly, I'm sure the Chair would report back from the meeting in Leeds and report back and seek your views on any emerging priorities from that meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any comments on this report? I mean, can I say, I mean, you referred to it, Graham, I think with the Scottish referendum result, I think this is a timely report, and I think the momentum now behind more devolution to the English regions is going to gather pace, and I think we as a Liverpool City Region Combined Authority, we need to take that opportunity to put forward our kind of ideas and asks. And I know the other combined authorities, which happen to be all in the north, are of a similar view, and I think collectively we can be a very powerful lobbying force to government with our agenda. So we have got this further meeting of all the combined authorities next month. I will absolutely report back to our next meeting of this combined authority, and hopefully we can agree an agenda of what further devolution we would like to see for the Liverpool City Region. So I think it's important that we take advantage of this opportunity now. So recommendations are set out on page 229, paragraph 2.1. Are they agreed? Okay, thank you. Right. Item 14 are a series of minutes from the Mersey Travel Committee. I think we're just asked to note those minutes. Can we note that? Okay, thank you. And on to the final item this morning, which is implementation of the Liverpool City Region deal. Just to agree with, yeah. Well, okay, so I'm just, no presentation on this one, just asking you to agree the recommendations are on page 285. They agree? Thank you. Okay, just one other very minor item of any other business before we finish. I'd like to, we need to agree a deputy to me as chair of the combined authority on the LEP European subcommittee. And I'm going to suggest Councillor Ronnie Round as the vice chair of the combined authority to fill that role. Can we agree that? That's seconded. Thanks, Rob. Okay, that's agreed. Okay, I've not been informed of any other urgent items. Just to remind you, the date of the next meeting of this combined authority is Friday the 17th of October. Okay, so please make a note of that. And can I close the meeting and thank everybody for their attendance? Thank you.